Hey folks, welcome back to Good Enough Customs. So this week we are working on Harvey Dent. So those of you that don't know Harvey's a 1998 short bed, regular cab, Chevy work truck. And we built this truck for my son for his first vehicle because the K5 is supposed to be his first vehicle. Somebody's been dragging their feet on working on it. Yes, I know that somebody's me. Don't worry, I'm going to try and get it done this year. So I'll get back to the K5 here before long. But yeah, so Harvey Dent, it's named because it doesn't have a straight panel. The tailgate used to be straight, but you know, the perils of a teenager learning how to look behind him when he's backing up causes dent. So but it's been a great truck. We've literally had only really one problem out of the truck since he's been driving it. It's been pretty trouble free. The only problem that we've actually run into is the heater core started leaking. So as a stopgap, because I am not a fan of doing heater cores, they suck. They're never any fun. I just went on Amazon and ordered some of these little clamps that just, you know, pinch off the heater hoses. So I pinched off the heater hoses to keep it from leaking, and it's been running fine since. But here we are, October. It's getting cooler out, so he's going to need a heater. So we're going to do the heater core. So also, we've never changed the oil on this guy. We changed it when we first got it, and that's it. So we're going to do an oil change on this, and let's see. And then we got to look at the alignment. The alignment on this guy, the camber's off a little bit, so the tire's leaned in just a touch. And I think the toe's off a little bit as well. The reason why we had that blowout back in July is the inner side of the tire just got wore down to, it was damn near paper thin. It was so thin, I was really shocked. So I don't want to ruin a brand new pair of tires up front with the alignment being way off, and I really don't want to pay to go get this guy aligned. So we're just going to try to, you know, eyeball it and get it as close as we can. So, all right, well, I've just got to get the door unlocked here on the passenger side, and we can get in here, and we can start disconnecting hose lines and getting everything ready to go inside the truck. So I'll see you under the hood. All right, first things first, let's get, well, that's already loose. Huh. Let's get, well, so is that one. What the hell? Well, we're going to get this stuff out of the way so we can actually, you know, maneuver around in here and do stuff that we need to do. Have a little bit more room for activities, so to speak. All right, so we got to get these hose clamps off, which are always oh so much fun to deal with. And the other one's pointed down. Awesome. Well, we got this one out of the way. Let's see if we can't twist this one off and get him. Yeah, I'm gonna go get a pick. There we go. So this other clip, I don't know if you can see it, but they put it on where the tangs are down. So it's friggin' impossible to get to. Oh, I believe I could punch somebody in the throat. Golly. What a pain in the butt. All right. There we go. All right, so now we're just going to put a little air in it to try to blow out any excess, try to keep the mess down to a minimum inside the inside the cab. And a little air goes a long ways on that. You don't want to go just blasting out with 100 PSI because that'll just make a big mess. So yeah, so we got that part loosened up. That's done. Looks like we're clear. So now it'll be go to the inside and start disassembling underneath the dash. So we'll catch up in there. So we've got our heater box here on the passenger side up under the dash. We just have to pull this cover off in order to get to the heater core, which is right behind it. So we've got, there's a bolt here. These are 5.5 millimeter. So we got a bunch, a few of these, and I'll have to find them all. Let's see. I know there's one there. It seems like there was one here. Okay. One right here. And there may be one back here. Yep. Big guy working underneath the dash. Not the best situation. Feels like there's one way back here. And I think that's it. I don't know if I can get to this one with this extension. We'll figure it out though. And then there was another one over here somewhere. All right, there's five screws. Let's see if there's any more that we're missing. Yep, there's one way back over in here. Pretty much lined up with this guy. So is anybody up for a game of guess which screw is not going to be going back into this guy? I couldn't imagine trying to put this thing back in. All right, that's gone. That is a pain in the ass. Yeah, that screw there, that ain't happening. So we've got our heater core exposed. If you look up there, there's a little screw that's holding that little tab on. We'll take that loose and then drop this guy out. You don't have to pull it all the way out, just loosen it up to where that comes loose. And then that thing just slides right out. This thing almost looks like it's been replaced before. All right, got the old one out, and I'm not really seeing any giant evidence of leaking. Right here, it's a little discolored, and there's some schmutz right there on that corner, so maybe it was leaking there. I'm not seeing that anywhere else on this guy. Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good. I don't really see anything that would be a leak other than, like I said, right there, it's a little discolored. You know, I don't know what's going on there, but like I said, a little discolored there. We've got some of that same, I'm guessing it's an adhesive that they've got on these seams right here. And that side's fine. It's not even a different color. It's the right color. This side, yeah, it's a little different color. So maybe she was leaking right in here. I don't know, but here's our new one. So picked this guy up at O'Reilly's. It was like 60 bucks. And for all intents and purposes, it's the same dimensions. You know, height wise, it's the same. Pretty much everything's the same. So key point here, take the bubble wrap off. That you're not going to have a good time if you forget to take the bubble wrap off. It does come with new foam for the box and a new clip. So I don't know if that's because this one has a little different profile to it or what, but we might use that clip, we might not. I don't know. We'll look at the other clip. We'll see what it looks like. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, pull the old one out, get the new one, make sure that they are the same size before you go dropping it in there. I know on Chevys it's pretty straightforward. I know on Fords it could be, if it had, you know, one different option on it, it might have a completely different heater core to it. So Fords are a little different. So anyways, yeah, just double check your size, make sure that the dimensions are roughly the same, and just, you know, go over everything, make sure everything's cool. So I guess next thing we're gonna do is go and stick it back in. And yeah, it's not gonna get that one screw in, because I don't see how in the hell I'm gonna get that thing even lined up. So yeah, let's get back to it. All right, so let's get this guy lined up and slide it on up in there. Yeah, I'm guessing that's supposed to grab that edge, so I guess we will go ahead and swap this out. All right, because this top profile on this guy is a little bit longer, and it's wanting to take the little hook. They have a longer hook that comes in here so it can grab the top edge of that guy, kind of like that. So so yeah, I will go ahead and swap this guy out. Begrudgingly swap this guy out. Yeah, this foam seems to be in just fine shape. It's all there, so we're not gonna worry about the foam. All right, got the heater core in there. Now all we got to do is bolt the cover back on. Well, I guess we got to get the cover back up in there, however that happens. Oh no. Well, let's see. Gotta go just past. All right, lessons learned. So apparently the heater core and the cover have to go in at roughly the same time, or you're never going to get your cover past the back edge of the heater core. So let's get that pulled loose. We'll pull him back out a little bit. There we go. Now we just make things harder on ourselves. So now we can actually get this guy shoved up into place. Hopefully. Why are we being such a pain in the ass? Is it this guy? So this sits up like that. This has to go in with in order to clear that corner. And then that still doesn't want to seat back there. So, it's actually the next morning, folks. Yeah, yesterday I was getting pretty colorful. We'll just put it at that. I was getting very colorful, and things were about to start getting thrown, and it was fixing to be a very, very ugly situation. Because part of this little box here, I'll show you. Part of this little box back here just does not line up. There's something that's not lined up in here, but obviously there's no room to work and you can't see anything. So you're having to do everything by feel, but my hands are too damn big, so I can't feel stuff. Whoo! So yeah, yesterday I was getting pretty fired up. I was quite aggravated. I had to literally just walk away. Plus, yesterday was Jackson's birthday, so we had birthday dinner and all that fun stuff to do. So we went out and did all that. But so yeah, so now I'm back out here first thing in the morning. Well, second thing in the morning. I had coffee, but so out here this morning, I'm gonna try to get this guy put back together. I'm trying to figure out what it is that's not going where it's supposed to go. So that's literally the only thing holding me up here. Once I get the bottom cover on this thing back on, then I can just hook up the hoses, bleed the system of air, and we're ready to go. It's just like, what the hell, man? So anyways, back to it. All right, so we already know that it's not working the way it should be working right now. So I'm gonna I put 2 screws in this guy yesterday in order to kind of hold it up there, so maybe I could get this guy to, you know, kind of go where it should go. And obviously that failed miserably. So let's pull that back down. So my next thought is, let me go in here. Let's just pull this heater core out. Just get it out of the way. Yeah. And let's just put this guy on here and let's just see if we run into the similar issue on this end. I think I see what the problem is now. And when I say see, I mean feel. So it's got to go right there. I bet this guy right here, there's something back here not letting me go all the way up. Yeah. Okay, so it's not the heater core causing it. There's a little tab that hangs down right here that's for the back of this freaking box. And as you can kind of see, maybe you can kind of see right there, there's a bunch of scuff marks. That's where it's hitting, and it's just not getting past that. And it appears as though I'm not able to shove that far enough back in order to get clear of whatever it is I'm hanging on. So so that's where the struggle is. So we're already making progress from yesterday. Yeah. So let me fight with this a little bit longer. See if we can't figure this out, because damn it, man. Ding. The heater core. All right. So you have to put the heater core in this guy first, or you'll never clear on the back side. Fun fact. So now's the fun part of, you got the heater core in, but you've also got to get it clipped. Okay. There. All right, so now that's in. Ow. Still not grabbing where it needs to grab there. Okay, now let's do this guy like that. Just go to your home. All right, so had turned the camera off again. I don't do well under dashes and in tight spaces. Not that I'm claustrophobic, because I'm not. I am not built for tight spaces. So it gets a little bit tight trying to get in there and try to feel around, and you can't see nothing. Frustration level skyrockets, and then I start saying a lot of things that are better left unsaid. And yeah, got myself a little worked up there. So hey, the bottom's back on. So I got the bottom on this guy. We're not going to pay much attention to what's going on back here, because that may or may not have gotten broken during a fit of rage. But so we're just going to act like it's fine. It's fine. So now all we got to do is get our heater hoses back on the new connections right there for the heater core. I'm actually going to pull these god-awful squeezy clamp things. I hate those things. I've got some worm clamps, screw clamps, whatever you want to call them. I've got some of those I'm going to put on it, mainly because those are a hell of a lot easier to deal with than these stupid these squeeze clamps. So I'm gonna switch out to that. Now yesterday I did have, while I was cussing and fighting underneath the dash yesterday, I did have Jackson jack the front of the truck up and performed an oil change, because we haven't done that since, oh, well, I've got it written on the oil filter. Let's see. Huh. When was the last time we did that? Huh. Today's the 8th of October. Yeah. Whoops. So yeah, 1 year oil change, and I think the truck now shows 327,000 miles on it. Now, his speedometer doesn't work right, so that means his odometer doesn't work right. So God knows how many actual miles are on there. I seriously doubt it's 11,000 miles. It's probably 6,000-7,000, which is fine, whatever. But anyway, so he did the oil change yesterday, but I told him to go ahead and leave it up on the jack stands. That way, whenever we go to connecting up the heater hoses, we can pop the top on the radiator, and we can start this guy, making this the highest point on the coolant system. So that way we can get our air bubbles out, and we can basically, air bleed or bleed the cooling system. So we'll do that really quick. We'll get those hoses hooked up, and then we'll start letting this guy, purge off some air and get her fired up, and let the thermostat actually open and circulate the system. So I'll be right back. All right, with that, we are super hot down in here. That fan is kicking out some heat. I got no coolant coming in from where the heater core is. We successfully burped the system of air, purged it, went ahead and topped off the overflow tank because it was bone dry. So yeah, should be good to go on this part. So I guess I'm gonna get this thing down off the jack stands, Actually, before I do that, I got to double check one thing, and then we'll get her off the jack stands and see about doing something with this alignment. So be right back. All right, so what I was doing off camera was while it was still in the air, I was like, you know what? We never did go back and retighten these bearings. You know, whenever you first put brand new wheel bearings on, you really have to go back and check them after they've had a little bit of break-in. Yeah, we never did that. So while it was up in the air, I was able to wiggle this wheel quite a bit. It wasn't a ridiculous amount, but it was more than it should be, which should be basically none. But you could actually hear it clunking whenever I was moving it. So it had a lot of room in there. And then over here on the driver's side, this guy, it barely moved. I mean, it was just a gnat hair worth of movement. But I went ahead and pulled the caps off, pulled the little cotter pin out, and on the driver's or the passenger side, I probably had to tighten it down 1/8 of an inch just to snug it up good. Roll it over a few times, verify that it's still free spinning, and then set the cotter key back in. Good to go there. Driver's side, it was probably 1/16 of an inch. I mean, it was just enough for me to barely get to the next hole for the cotter key. So, and again, spun it around, double checked it, make sure that everything is copacetic there. So the next thing we need to handle is looking at this guy. The driver's side, I don't know if that translates very well, but you can kind of tell she's towed out just a little bit. Where we come over here to the passenger side, that thing's pretty square. So looks like my tow out is pretty bad on the driver's side. I'm not going to show how to do that. I've gone over that a few times. I know for sure I did it on Steve before we went to Power Tour. If I can remember, I'll throw a link up. But basically, find you a common spot on the front of the tire. You know, usually I'll use the last block of tread right before the shoulder on both sides. Measure your distance there. Go to the back side of the tire. Measure your distance there. Do your math. Figure out where you should be. You should be about 1/8 of an inch narrower up front. Yeah, right now I can definitely tell that the driver's side is way out of tow. Probably a good 1/4 inch. So we'll have to pull that guy in significantly. Well, not really significant, you know, 1/4 inch. But but we'll get that guy pulled in and verify, you know, our tow looks good by double checking everything along with the passenger side. It might be towed out a touch, but I think the driver's side's our real culprit there. So, and that would also explain why the inside of the tire is just getting chewed to pieces. You know, towed out, it's going to be riding on that inside edge of the tire, just chewing it up. So, so we're going to want to tow it in just a touch. So, before I can do that though, I got to get the truck out of here, get the coolant cleaned up off the floor, because I am not all about rolling around in coolant. So, I'm going to do that and see if I can get Jackson to awaken from his slumber and give me a hand with this. It definitely is easier with 2 people, but I'll see if I can't get him up, and we'll get this guy, you know, get the alignment kind of adjusted on this and be ready to go. So I'll catch back up with y'all here in just a couple minutes. All right, folks, so we got the alignment straightened out on this guy. That tire is no longer pointed out. Ended up being about 1/2 inch out. Rolled him in. Passenger side seemed to be just fine. Worked our measurements, checking everything. Front end is now about 1/8 of an inch narrower than the rear, which is right about where we want to be for our tow. Of course, tightening up those wheel bearings kind of fixed our little camber situation going on both sides. Not so much the driver's side, but definitely affecting over here. So I got that sorted out. So maybe these tires will live a little bit longer. Jackson got the oil changed on it, and we replaced that aggravating freaking heater core. One thing that we do need to fix on this truck, and it's kind of a pain for Jackson because he's the one driving it, is the heat never turns off. Heat's always running on this guy, and that's going to be, what is that, the blend door, which is located right about in here, back behind the dash. So saw a video where a guy had pulled his glove box open and he had, you know, decent enough access back to it. So that little guy, it's like a $30 or $40 little servo. So we'll probably go ahead and replace that. The other thing that we have is it's stuck on floor, but if you look right here, this little fella, that's the one that changes where it goes, if it goes to the floor, the vent, or the defrost. So this is apparently the same motor as the blend door, which is up in there somewhere. So I'm gonna order 2 of these guys, and well, maybe I just order the one, because this one's really easy to get to. It's just right there. So I'm gonna order at least that, so he can move it to the defrost or the vent instead of just cooking his toes all the time. And then maybe that one for the blend door, that's gonna be a pain because it's inside the dash, and we already know that I don't do well inside the dash. Tight spaces, and yeah, it's just not probably gonna work out that well. I may just go ahead and get that one and say, here son, enjoy. I'll stand back and point and laugh, but we'll see how that pans out. But we'll do that another day. It may or may not film it, I don't know, we'll see. But I'm gonna go ahead and get those ordered for him, so that way, you know, while it's not cold, he's not sitting here just burning up every time he gets in this truck. Harvey Dent, what a good truck. You know, it's rough as hell, but this thing goes A to B like crazy. It's a good solid little truck. Perfect little first time truck. So all right, well, I guess that's going to wrap it up for this week. I know it's not anything super exciting and fun, but you know, it's stuff that I've got to do, and in the time that I have to do it. And that just happened to be this weekend to get this done. So next week, we are taking off to Tupelo, Mississippi. I guess the birthplace of Elvis. And we're doing our annual Truck and the Trace cruise. So the Truck and the Trace cruise is, it's a really cool little show that they have down in Tupelo, Mississippi. It's a Chevy only event. But pretty much if you got a Chevy truck and you're in that area, just come on by. It's free to enter, free to come by and look. It's a damn good show. Probably one of my favorite ones of the year. We'll be doing, with the C10 Club of Tennessee, we'll be doing a cruise down on Friday, leaving out from Loveless Cafe in Nashville and headed south down the Trace, down to Tupelo. It's a beautiful drive. I film it every year, or when I can. Last year I could only do part of it because Jackson had a football game. But this year, no football game. So we'll definitely be on the whole cruise. And unless Big John sells, I'll probably drive Big John because that's just a comfortable cruiser. I really encourage everybody, if you're in the Tupelo area, Jackson, Mississippi, Memphis, I don't know, all those areas, within a couple 3-hour drive. Saturday, I believe the show starts at 10. And I forget exactly where. I'll put the details down in the description. But yeah, swing by, check it out. If you see me, come by, say hey. But yeah, can't suggest that one enough. It's a great time. So that'll be next week is covered from that. Because doing that, I won't have time to get in the shop. Unless I can squeeze in some time during the week and maybe work on this big block that's sitting here asking for me to work on it. So maybe I get some more time to work on that guy. We'll see. So that'll wrap it up, folks. I do appreciate y'all watching. If you liked the video, be sure and hit the like button. If you made it this far and you haven't subscribed, why haven't you subscribed? So just go ahead and click the little subscribe button down there. Just helps to grow the channel. If you want to follow me on social media, I don't post a ton, but I do post every once and again. My social media info is down below. Questions, comments, concerns, throw them down there in the comments. I read them all and I answer them all eventually. Sometimes it'll take me a day or two, but most times I'm pretty quick on those. So, all right, folks, I do appreciate it, and we'll look forward to seeing y'all next week. And just remember, it ain't got to be perfect. It's good enough, like Harvey. Y'all take it easy.